Hi, I'm Johnny from UltimatePaperMache.com, and today I want to talk to you about AI. I know it's not my usual thing, but I'm going to do it anyway. The first thing that concerns me is that there's something that comes from the actual process of doing something that children may be missing out on if they get convinced that they shouldn't try getting that mastery of their own because AI can do it so much better and so much faster. And I don't think you're going to get that just because you learn how to type in a prompt into an AI program. So that basically what I'm saying is I think maybe, don't know for sure, but maybe AI is stealing something really important from our kids. And one reason that kind of makes me mad is that over the years of having my YouTube channel and my blog, I've gotten a lot of emails from people like my age and older who say that they have wanted their entire life to actually make something, to sculpt something. And they haven't tried because back in grade school, somebody that they respected, their teacher or their parent, looked at a couple of things that they had done and said, well, there's no point in you doing that. You don't have any talent. And they believed them. And so a lot of kids, and I have met a whole bunch of them who were kids and then became people my age, still never having experienced what it's like to get your hands in some clay and actually make something. And that's theft. I really do think that's theft. People who tell a kid to don't create anything because you're just not going to be good enough, those people are stealing something really, really important from those people, from not just from that person right now, they're stealing it from that person for the rest of their lives. It's quite possible that they'll never get it back. And I'm afraid that AI is doing that now, just not by telling you that you're not good enough, but by telling you that they can do whatever it is you want to do so much better than you can, that there's no point in trying. I'm going to show you something that I played with AI, and this is what actually started me thinking about it. I found this picture of my poodle on my computer, and I thought, hey, that'd be kind of fun to play with AI. What if I could talk it into making a Soviet-style poster? I love those for some reason. But with the main character in the poster being my poodle. So I tried it. And this is what came out. I actually like the poster so much that I think I will print it up and put it in my kitchen because I really do like it. And I shared it with people. And the thing that really worries me is that just as soon as that poster was finished and it popped up on my screen, it was so much fun that I decided that I wanted to do it again. Because the reward that you get when you've created something after you've actually created it, which I didn't do, of course, that poster, I didn't make that. I just came up with the idea. I didn't actually create the poster, but I felt like I had. And that really matters because that feeling of, yeah, I did that. That's really cool. I like that. Did I make that myself? And if you've made anything at all, you know what that feels like. And it's a good feeling, so it makes you want to do it again. The reason that really bothers me is that if I was 5 years old or 6 or 7 now, and I was thinking about drawing a picture of my dog, and I looked online and I saw that all I have to do is upload that picture of my dog and AI will create a drawing of it that is as good as something that was made by one of the best artists in the world, like ever, I would probably say to myself, well, what's the point of me drawing it out? What's the point of me trying to draw that myself when the AI program can do it so much faster and so much better? And at that age, I would have absolutely no idea that I was missing out on the part that really matters. It's not the drawing of the dog that matters. It's the fact that I would have been learning to master something, that I was learning how to get control over the pencil and over the paper and over the way that I see things and over the way my hands move. That's what really matters. And I wouldn't know that. I'm really worried that millions of kids who could have been great artists or mediocre artists or just people who enjoy art as a hobby, doesn't matter, millions of them who could have done it, who will choose not to because AI makes it so much easier to let the computer do it instead. There's one other thing that people never talk about because it just happens naturally, and that is that when you're working on a piece of art, when you're making anything, it is basically it's a form of meditation, because you're so focused on that one thing that all the things on the outside world that can cause you to be anxious kind of disappear. And like I said, most of the time we don't think about it at all because it's just part of the process, but it does happen. And I actually have an experience that I think actually proves it, how important it is. I was a year younger than everybody else when I was in first and second grade, and we had a teacher who was mentally ill. She actually ended up in a mental institution at the end of the year. All the parents knew that something was wrong, and they tried to get the school to replace her, but they couldn't do it for some reason. It was a tiny school. I mean, that just isn't going to happen anymore. But it doesn't mean that I'm the only kid growing up who was in a situation where I really needed some help. When I was home, everything was fine. I was getting the support I needed. My parents were very supportive of my art, for instance, and that's one of the reasons why I was able to get through the day when I was at school, because I would pick up a piece of paper. The teacher was not paying attention to us, so I could get away with it. I would get out my pencil, well, a real pencil, not this one, and I would draw. And I was able to spend that time not being in that classroom because I was there on the page, and I would draw everything in the room. The other thing that it gave me was a little bit of recognition when the other kids noticed that I was able to make a reasonably good drawing of the painting that was up above our blackboard. It was a covered wagon. I got that recognition of having mastery over something that they didn't have. I was never going to be one of the cool kids. I was never going to be an athlete. I was really clumsy, so I couldn't play the games very well that they played at recess. So there really wasn't anything else that they could see about me that would make me different, except for the fact that I could draw. And that also matters. So because I'm really aware of the therapeutic benefits of art, it's actually something that I put in one of my books, and I'm going to read it because I want to make sure that I remember exactly what I said is art. It's medicine for the soul. And I said that because I truly believe it. There are millions of people who gain something really important in the meditative state that you get into when you're actually making something. It can be anything, but if you're making something, it matters. And because nobody talks about it, I'm pretty sure that the CEO of one of these AI companies, they don't talk about it either. If they don't happen to know an art therapist, they have no idea that that happens. But I think there's a whole lot of kids know, maybe not specifically, maybe they couldn't name it, but I think that's why so many, especially girls, want to become artists when they grow up. And I think that might be because going through the teenage years especially is not easy, and art helps a whole lot of those people get through the day. I'm worried that if they choose to not even start playing around making stuff because AI has convinced them that they're just not going to be good enough to be able to compete with what AI can create, I'm worried that all those folks are really going to be missing out on something important. And not just when they're kids, but as they grow up too. Since you've gotten this far in the video, you might be thinking, wait a minute, is she saying that artists shouldn't use computers? And no, that's definitely not what I'm saying. I use computers all the time. In fact, a lot of artists do, and I really appreciate any tool that actually helps creative people express themselves better. And one thing that I think of right away is that if you want to make an animated film, you come up with the characters and draw them out so you know exactly what they're going to look like and what kind of expressions they're going to have on their faces. You write the story so you know exactly what you want the film to be saying. And you give all of the characters a dialogue so that they'll be able to tell that story in a way that other people can understand. At that point, it would be a little silly to actually draw every single frame of that animated movie, because there are programs that will do that for you. Then the fact that you used a program to help you do that doesn't mean you cheated or anything. But on the other hand, if you come up with an idea that takes like two sentences to fill out. You want a couple of characters to have a story that's kind of about this thing, and you want it to be in the style of a certain animator that you happen to admire. And you write that out in your AI program's text box, and 2 minutes later, the whole entire video shows up. It's not yours. You didn't do it. It's actually taking pieces of other people's work and building something automatically, really fast. And it's possible that that animated video will be interesting enough that you can put it up on YouTube and people will watch it. Maybe they'll think it's cool. But you didn't do it. You may get the feeling of pride like I did when I made my poster because you've built something, but you didn't actually build it. And that brings us to the second way that I think AI is stealing things from young people, things that are really, really important. And that's, well, I'm going to use a video example again. If you're a musician, you've really worked on your music, you've created a style that's your own, you have a beautiful voice, and you get together some people and you all put together a really cool music video. And then you put it up on YouTube. But during the week or so that you were actually creating that video along with engineers and all the other people and all the other equipment that are required to create a real music video, during that time, other people may have been creating very similar music videos just by typing in a prompt in an AI program. Maybe they put out 50 or 100 of them because it's really fast and it's really easy to do. And the real musicians' video is going to have to compete with all of those AI-generated videos. The really big question is, how are you going to compete with all those AI-generated videos? And is anybody going to find the real musician and actually give them a good start on their new career? I've been actually building websites and YouTube videos for 25 years, so I know that it was hard even in the beginning to compete with real people. Now, a new artist has to compete with AI-generated stuff that people are just typing things in and pushing it out onto the internet. Photographs, just millions of them. You can now produce an entire book by AI that's based on someone else's style. This is a really good video to watch. If you don't believe it, it really happens. And someone coming up, new people who actually want to create real stuff have to compete with all that. And I don't think that's fair. I also don't think it's fair that if you are that musician who went to all that trouble to actually create a real music video, it's entirely possible that tomorrow AI is using your voice and your style, everything that you put into that music video yourself. Now it's creating hundreds of copies. Not exactly the same. They might not use the same words of a song in the same order so that you could get them for copyright, but it's stealing everything else. The copyright laws that were written are very specific that if you create something and you publish it anywhere, you don't have to send in a form or register it or anything. It just automatically becomes copyrighted. As long as you can prove that you actually made it, it belongs to you. But we're not following those laws because AI companies have decided that no, we don't need to do it that way. We found a workaround where we can use little teeny pieces of everybody's work, no matter who puts it out there. We can take pieces of it and manufacture new things. And we don't have to get their consent. We don't have to pay them for it. We're just going to use it. People will get excited about it and they'll go ahead and use it themselves and forget about the fact that they're stealing from people. And the reason that that's really not okay is that the copyright laws weren't just written to protect the people who write things or create music, or it's not just for the people who make stuff. It was actually written in order to keep people writing and keep people painting, keep people making music, so that the next Mozart or the next Michelangelo or the next, Ernest Hemingway, they'll go ahead and publish their work and share it with people. And the society needs that. We can't just stop here and say, okay, everything that has ever been done is enough. So that's as far as I've gotten so far. I really did just start thinking about this whole thing just a month or so ago because I made that Soviet poodle poster and it was just too much fun. And maybe it's bothering me just because art, making things, has become so important to me that I can't imagine what it would have been like if I had been an 8-year-old person choosing not to actually draw a real dog. This is what I actually did when I was about 8 years old, and I got that from a lesson in this book here. I don't still have that book, but I think I just found one out on eBay, and I think I might have to buy one because it's a really good book on how to draw dogs. But that was my experience growing up, and it was really important to me, and it has eventually, very slowly, and over a whole lot of time, has resulted in me making these patterns, helping people sculpt, learning how to use paper mache. I mean, it's been important to me. But maybe the kids will get just the same amount of satisfaction by learning how to type in some prompts and having AI do it for them. AI, obviously, because it's stealing from the best artists in the world, it can obviously do a better job than a child. Kids can't possibly compete with that. So maybe they shouldn't try. Maybe that would be okay. Tell me what you think below. You obviously know my opinion on the subject. And maybe the fact that new artists and new writers, new musicians have to compete with all this AI stuff online, maybe that is less important too. Maybe all those folks can just go back into the community and give up on the whole internet thing. It's going to be flooded with all this stuff anyway, so sooner or later, probably sooner, it's going to get to the point where we can't really find anything that we know for sure was made by a human. We won't even know if humans we're looking at who are talking, we won't know if they're real. So maybe we're just going to have to give up on the internet and go back to doing things the old-fashioned way out in the real world. Maybe that's a better thing for people. I don't know. What do you think? Do you think it really matters that giant internet corporations have been able to have access to absolutely everything that's ever been published, like really ever, and that they can take little pieces of anything they want to and use it any way they want to create new work? Does that matter? I mean, in the long run, do you think that's going to really slow down the production of new creative work? Or is it just something new that we have to get used to and that will eventually make everything better? Like, that's certainly what they're saying, that this is almost like the new industrial revolution or something. Everything is changing and it's going to be so much better at the other side. Do you think that's true? Let me know what you think. And how is it actually going to affect the kids growing up now if we keep on with the internet and it remains as important as it is now? What's going to happen to those little kids' minds as they're growing up, knowing that there is absolutely nothing they can trust on the internet, that anything you see could be fake and probably is? How is that going to affect the society as a whole when those kids grow up? Those are big questions. I don't know the answer to any of them. If you have some comments on this whole idea of AI and art, please let me know in the comments down below. I would really love to read them. And I promise that in my next video I will not rant. I will actually have an actual paper mache project. Don't know which one yet, but it will be something other than AI. So be sure that you watch for it and come visit me, ultimatepapermache.com. I'll see you there.